Right. So we are continuing with our top-down analysis of the major currency pairs, and in this video we'll be looking at Euro USD and Pound USD. So in the previous video, in the previous analysis, we looked at Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, focusing mainly on shorting opportunities due to the fact that dollar is quite strong. So same applies with the fiber and cable. We're going to be looking for shorting opportunities, right? So shorting opportunities are ideal on fiber and on cable, right? So those are the nicknames for Pound USD and Euro USD for those who need clarification. So that's for your own research to dig into. So we're going to look at Euro USD firstly, and then Pound USD last, to be just a short, precise analysis on Pound USD. You already have a top-down analysis that was posted probably a few weeks back, and everything has come to fruition. So when you look at Euro USD, the monthly chart, right? I've already highlighted the most and obvious areas on this monthly chart for Euro. And you can clearly see we've got imbalance here, which dates back 20 years ago, and price is actually approaching that imbalance with initial two retest of that imbalance, one in 2017 and currently in 2022. But we haven't actually filled that imbalance. Yes, some are gonna say, but that's quite an old imbalance in the market. But ultimately, imbalances always gets filled, irrespective it's after a year, 2 years, or 1 week, 2 days. Imbalance in the markets always gets filled. That's the market rebalancing, the inefficiency that you'll be noticing on the chart. So with that in mind, right now our draw on liquidity is also the previous month low, which is coming in at 1.03489. So that's our draw on liquidity right now on Euro USD, and ultimately I'm expecting weakness in Euro USD all the way to parity. That's to 1:1, but that's gonna take a bit of time, and we might not see parity. But right now, parity is almost inevitable on Euro USD. So this expansion that we saw in the month of April, I expect Euro USD to mirror again that expansion. So we had an expansion here in the month of April, looking at about 526 pips, and currently we have moved 200, so we still have 300 pips to go. So you're looking about right to the filling up of the imbalance, which is quite attainable. So shorting opportunities are ideal on Euro USD. Now let's look at our 9 to 18 month profile. Our 9 to 18 month profile, starting in at that's 15, 16, 17, and 18. This last up close candle here, this last up close candle signifies the start of our 9 to 18 month profile. It's gonna close that. So when you look at that profile, the elements to a trade setup, what are we looking at? Now remember, elements to a trade setup just doesn't apply on your intraday trades or weekly trades, day trades. You can even apply it on the monthly chart, because price is fractal. Whatever happens on the monthly chart in 10 is replicated on lower time frame. Only difference is time and price. But in terms of structure wise, most of the time everything is replicated. So we can see right now price on the 9 to 18 month profile is expanding, going to the downside. Shorting opportunities are ideal, even though we had reached a very strong support level, the 1.0 0.635. That's a very strong support for the euro. And right now we have dipped under that level. But now you see we had a breaker here, right? Month of April, that's a bearish breaker. Then you can mark out bearish breaker of this old low. So a retracement to the upside, you look for shorting opportunities. But we also have fair value, right? Old low, price isn't really filled up that fair value, but with the way the central banks are doing their rate decisions or their quantitative easing, stuff like that. I'm not an accountant, guys, but I know what the general terms means. And for those who know, this should be a piece of cake for you. Right now, the banks are trying to really resuscitate their economies in the way that they understand. And most of them, that's just basically by rate increase, right? But we have seen the ECB of late. Last week on Thursday, the ECB hasn't yet uh, looked at that option of increasing their rates, but they gave a signal that probably in their July meeting they're going to start with their rate increase by 25 basis points. That did not do much help to alleviate the stress at which euro is at the moment. That is to say, the weakness in euro. So the market took that as a dovish sentiment towards euro, and that's why we saw euro trading lower Thursday and Friday. So market was pricing in probably maybe a 50 basis points from the ECB on their July meeting, but that is not the case. We only got a signal to say 25 basis points will be the forecast for their rate increase. That in turn put pressure on euro, and euro traded all the way below 1.06. So shorting opportunities are ideal on euro USD. We're looking to short the market uh, for the next week or 2 weeks to come, or all the way leading to the next ECB meeting, which is sometime in July. So shorting opportunities are ideal, and you can clearly see our monthly price action. We're expanding to the downside. The month of May, that might in turn be a bearish order block if we see June dropping big time, which is what I expect. I expect June to drop big time on euro. So we're going to go to the weekly chart. Now on the weekly chart, remember our draw on liquidity is the 1.03357. That's our draw on liquidity, our first initial draw. The second initial draw is right around 1.01855. That's when we'll fill up that imbalance on the monthly chart. Now when we're on this weekly chart, on the weekly chart, what do we see? We've got a weekly bullish order block, and price is trading right inside that weekly bullish order block. So do we fancy buyers to come back into the market? I really don't think so. Hey, that's when the calendar becomes very important. So right now the draw on liquidity is the low of May. Remember, do not forget that. So with this imbalance on the weekly chart, price actually filled it, and it didn't provide any support whatsoever. Why? Because euro is very weak. ECB signaled a dovish stance on their currency, and then we got the inflation number from the United States on Friday, which signified further tightening from the Fed, thereby resulting in a strong dollar. That's why we saw euro drop big time. So in regards to where euro should not trade to, we shouldn't see euro breaking above 1.07850. So 1.07850 is our change of sentiment in terms of directional bias. If price does break above, then we are looking at a very short-term rally to the upside. So as it is, shorting opportunities are ideal on euro USD. Now I may skip quite a few things here because I'm just giving a rough guide, guys, to your analysis. If you're in the mentorship group, you already know what to do. If I say we're looking for shorting opportunities. You see, you already know that, okay, I should focus on highlighting my premium arrays where I look for shorting opportunities. I should focus on the discount arrays where I should have my targets set. You see, so we already have a weekly bullish order block, which I expect price to trade through. Now on the daily chart, right? On the daily chart, we've got this daily bearish order block. Now this daily bearish order block is only going to provide resistance to price. It's only going to provide resistance to price on positive news for the dollar, right? So if it's to say that we are trading at this level heading into FOMC on Wednesday, but I don't really see euro recovering that much, it's going to be a bloodbath tomorrow, guys. Take note, it's going to be a bloodbath. Markets are going really to melt. So we've got this daily bearish order block, and then we have fair value, right? The fair value that we have here is plus OB. This is a very high probability order block. What do I mean by high probability order block? That's an order block where 95% of the time price will likely find resistance. In this case, because it's a bearish order block, price will likely find resistance. Even if you miss the first initial retest of that fair value, second retest will also give you great opportunities to short the market, but only after a run of stops. So maybe a run of stops above these highs. So we've got fair value here, and also once the weekly candle opens, right, I'm gonna go back to the weekly chart, there's going to be fair value also, but now we are on the daily time frame, and you can see how we have broken to the downside here. See this old low here, this candle, we have broken to the downside. So that's to say that if we do get a retracement to the upside, this level should give you clear opportunities to short the market. What can give you what catalyst can you get there? What can provide the reason for you to be a seller, say around 1.06500 on Euro USD? That's positive news for the dollar, or negative news from the Euro zone. You see, that array will then provide resistance and price push to the downside to where your first initial target 1.03377, or ultimately you're looking at 1.0175. You see, so we should really see price trading to the downside on Euro USD. So I'm gonna go to the H4. Now on the H4 you can see this is our daily fair value gap, this is our daily bearish order block, but we now have, this is our last up close candle before we move to the downside. Again here, our last up close candle before an expansion to the downside. So a retracement higher, a retracement to this level here, because we now have here on the daily chart, it's a breaker. It's a breaker here, price trap to the downside, then we should expect a move lower. So with Euro USD and Pound USD, guys, you already know the emphasis. You already know what you need to look out for. So define your premium arrays and make sure you are patient enough to wait for the fundamental or a high volatility event that is going to give you now a clear signal to say, okay, this array has provided resistance, we are shorting. So right now 1.0782, that's our ceiling in terms of sellers. A breach above that level, then we should see buyers coming back in to the picture. Now on to Pound USD, right? You've got a top-down analysis on the channel. If you're in the mentorship group, you've got the link already where we did Pound USD in detail, and you can see how price has been respecting, especially this daily bearish order block, right? Buy side liquidity was ran right here. Buy side liquidity was run through trading inside monthly fair value, and sellers found their strength to push price lower. And right now we are trading lower. We've got a daily fair value gap right there. Right now the draw on liquidity is right at 1.2155. We've got sell side liquidity there at 1.2155. But from which level should you be anticipating the sellers to come back? Right around the 1.24100. See, that's your ideal area for shorting opportunities, or inside this fair value here that was created on Friday. We should get sellers coming back in to the picture. So with pound USD, I'm not going to go into detail with it. We also have the same bias in terms of targets. We're looking for price to trade all the way back to 1.2155. That's the draw on liquidity. Remember, if you're in the mentorship, remember this arrow here. I did put this arrow saying price is really gonna trade to the downside. I think it was this candle here when we didn't even have the current structure. So right now, you see we've got a weekly bullish order block here. Is that bullish order block gonna provide support? I don't think so, right? Maybe, right? Maybe on Thursday, where we have, I think we've got Bank of England on Thursday. Let me just double check. Right there, we've got Bank of England rate decision. So they're anticipating a 25 basis point increase, right? If by then we're around that bullish order block, which is not going to be the case. Why? Because we've got FOMC right here on Tuesday evening. We've got FOMC. Now remember, with FOMC, there's going to be strength into DXY, unless if otherwise, right? We're anticipating strength into dollar index. And with that strength, we should be anticipating price to trade below 1.21550 on pound USD, right? Then we get ECB on Bank of England on Thursday, right? Bank of England on Thursdays will probably be used as a catalyst to run the stops below 1.21550, and then maybe price will push to the upside, push to the upside where there'll be fair value on the weekly chart. You see, that's how you have to anticipate price. That's how you have to look at things in a technical form. You need to know what is going to take price where. So for now, the draw on liquidity is 1.2155, and your entries to the downside anywhere above 1.24 with your stops right above 1.26. I don't anticipate price to trade above 1.26500 on pound USD. If that happens, then the short-term bias would have changed to bullish. So shorting opportunities are ideal. Pound USD, same applies with Euro USD. Now in the next tutorial, I'm going to look at most probably USD CHF and USD CAD. I'm not going to do USD JPY. It's in a parabolic way. It's very hard to really see if the exhaustion from being overbought where it is right now is there to see, or Bank of Japan is going to do anything on I think on Thursday or something, Thursday or Wednesday morning. I'm not sure. You have to check the calendar. We've got BOJ rates decision, of which I don't expect them to do anything. So the melting of USD/JPY will likely continue with a strong dollar. So yeah, that's pretty much about it in regards to Euro USD and Pound USD. If you're in the mentorship group, if you have any questions on things that you haven't understood with these things here that I'm explaining here, you can just send me a message and I'll gladly explain. So yeah, that's pretty much in regards to Pound USD and Euro USD. So yeah, with that, I wish you guys good luck and happy trading. Thank you.